cut it, no, like we'll cut it. Right?
Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of Brewing E-commerce. And today I've got somebody who's an expert in things that I didn't really thought experts are really needed because she's come up with some really cool forms of healthy food that actually brings you in healthy living. So thank you so much for joining me today, Keethi.
Thank you so much for asking me.
So, Kirti, we have a good relationship because we also work together. So I know you for quite some time. I know your brand and I know quite a lot of journey, and it's super exciting. And that's exactly why I thought it will be amazing to have you today and go and learn. So let's kickstart. And there are so many questions because food is so critical. There is so much misinformation about food rather than information, in my opinion, and
Yeah.
I want to get a lot of those myths debunked while talking to you. So brace yourself.
I'll try my best. First of all, thank you for supporting us through Kui for quite some time now. It's really helped us to improve our conversions and also be on top of our consumers, right? What they need, what they're looking for on our website. And I'm looking forward to speaking more about food and trying as much as possible to use the knowledge that I have gained through this experience and my education to answer questions in the most easiest way, easily decodable way as
Yeah,
possible.
yeah, I love it because that part is so critical. I know of a few people who start talking about chemical names and all that, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm lost already. I have no clue.
Right.
So let's start from the basics, Katie. How about was the idea for co-foods that came to you and what led for you to start it?
So I come from a community who is mostly agrarian based. Like my father and my extended family has been into agriculture. So from childhood, I've been exposed to what happens in agriculture and literally the kind of grains we eat, like the rice or tua dal or the groundnut. It tastes very very different from what we eat in the market. So this is something that got me really curious, and I had this incident, I think, when I was in my 8th standard or something. My father was not harvesting red chili, he's just leaving it on the field. I was like, why are you not harvesting it? He said the cost to harvest is higher than the market price that I would make out of it. So this is
Wow.
something that got me thinking. I was very young, and then I remember walking into supermarkets and I was like, there's so much processed food with such higher shelf life. Why are we not doing this? That's when I think later when I researched, I figured at that time we were actually importing pulp from China, tomato pulp, etc., from China. So these are the things that I have been, I grew up looking at, how does the supply chain look like, what is happening, what is farmer doing. So I got to do a project when I was, during my MBA, which gave me an opportunity to interview a lot of farmers and understand what is that they're going through, right? So
Mhm.
that's when I realized uncertainty is something that weighs very high in a farmer's life.
Mm,
So
mm,
basically, I first of all I decide, okay, I'll cultivate tomato. When I cultivate kiya tomato, then
mm.
what happens? Then I have to go into the market as a business owner, as somebody who is cultivating or producing tomato. I have zero say in its price, so which
True.
is very uncertain. So basically, I have to go and try to figure out how to sell. Imagine in that scenario, there's a pest attack, there is a heavy rain. So the farmer is in a super panic mode, right? One, he can't control the price, he or she can't control the end price, and then
Yeah.
something uncertain is happening. So they run to this nearest agrochemical shop who give them products that give higher margins to them, and also that are super effective, like that can like really kill the pesticide pest very fast. But what happens is, are these safe to the humans to consume?
Mm.
So one of the insights that I had was, farmers actually, most of them that I saw, I talked to, they cultivate separately for their household without any pesticides and stuff like that.
Wow. Really?
So yeah, so we do that as well. My father, we eat this rice that we cultivate for ourselves separately. So these are some insights that I've collected through time and started like researching. So I've always had this thinking, closer to the source process, karna hai.
Hmm.
So that, and also then make it into a product that is that has higher shelf life, so
Hmm.
that it's easier for the farmer also to make money.
Hmm.
And then when something very interesting happened, I used to live in Bangalore. I was working for the CEO office, super hectic, and I was
Hmm.
missing home food. So my mom used to send me this dehydrated tomatoes, carrots, stuff like that.
Okay.
So it was super easy. Like, say you have to make a dal just in a pressure cooker, put dal, tomatoes, and stuff like that,
Hmm.
and then it's over. It's low effort, very less time taking, and also like homemade food, right?
Sure. Sure.
So I think that's when I started like understanding, for a tropical country like India, I felt it made more sense to dehydrate rather than use cold chain ecosystems, and it's very energy intensive,
Yeah,
right?
energy and
So
expensive, and yeah.
yeah, so I thought, fine, yeah, matlab, this seems very interesting. So I studied pharmacy. I have a degree in B.Pharm from Pilani. So
Wow.
I used some of my, knowledge to kind of research more on it, understand what is happening. So if you see your kitchen cupboard, all the ingredients are mostly dehydrated, like from coffee to tea to dals and rice and everything.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I went a little deeper into it to understand what are the aspects that help increase the shelf life, what are the things that have not been done correctly.
Hmm.
So that's where I realized different gaps that we can go forward, speak more as we go forward. That's how I came about developing these products.
Wow. Excellent journey. Excellent journey. And I'm sure you summarized it in a few minutes, but would have taken you so much to kind of go through it and then do it. And the number of SKUs that you have, the kind of combinations that you sell, Kirti, they're commendable, right? There are so many powders and so many things that you sell. I have not even heard the name of. But people put so many different things while cooking, and
Sorry.
having that option available so that they can at least go and use it and do it the right way, I think really changes a lot.
Yes.
Right. So now let's go down to a little bit of business, right? So when you thought you want to start Go Foods, right? What was your first impressions, and what were your first steps, I would say, to start a brand? What was your top three focus areas? Let's put it that way.
So the initial step was to basically validate your idea, right? So we started at a small scale, got
Excellent.
some samples, and did some small B2B orders to
Hmm.
understand if these are the products that people would use, what would they use for, and stuff like that. So once we understood, like people really like the quality of the product and
Hmm.
stuff like that, and then we started like collecting a lot of consumer data. Like basically, we would do pop-ups where we try to understand what kind of products, like say beetroot, right? So
Yes.
very difficult to peel the beetroot, and there's a lot of color involved. It's very messy, but it's quite healthy. Like people would want to like eat it, but there is this uh, hindrance to go forward and use it in everyday diet. So I was like, okay, the market is moving towards convenience. People are looking for options to eat faster with very low effort, but at the same time, especially with corona and everything, there's also increased interest and awareness in food. Okay, what am I eating, where is it coming from? So I thought it was interesting for us to come up this set of products which, while catering to convenience, also are those products which are good for your health, which is also not boring, right? One of the things that we understood in our research is that uh, most of the communication around food has been made in such a way that good food is boring, diet is boring. You have to like probably eat something cooler, eat an ice cream, eat a sweet, and these things that actually also give you a instant, dopamine hit, or all these sugar high or things like that. So then using color as an aspect. So basically, what we did was we did this live dosa carts where we used to do colorful dosas and then give it to small kids. So then the kid would like eat pink dosa, green dosa, and then parents were super happy because the kid who was initially not eating dosa is now asking for a healthy dosa because it's colorful. So these were some experiments that we did to make sure to find that communication mix, product mix, and
Yes.
marketing mix in a way that is actually solving a very significant pain point for our consumers.
Yeah. Yeah. This dosa story, I can relate. This happened in my house as well, right? One day we were trying to do something different, and then just changing the color or adding some things on top just kind of changes the flavor also completely, and the kids really respond to it. So okay, but I love the way you broke it down, Keethi. Again, validating the problem, understanding that people, will they buy? If they will buy, will they pay for it? And then of course, is it going to solve the problem at the end of it, because whatever you're trying to do, right? So today, what's your business split approximately in marketplaces, in direct Shopify, and I don't know if you already are in quick commerce or kind of going there.
In India, we're not in quick commerce yet. We are selling through our website, and then we are on marketplaces, and we are
Okay.
also doing B2B. So basically, there
Okay.
are this uh, clean food brands, bakeries, and people for whom it costs to chop and prepare the vegetables, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
say for
True.
example, you are selling a beetroot cake or beetroot crackers.
Yeah.
So for you now, it's much
They,
easier, and
makes
there's
sense.
less wastage, and there's more efficiency also. You can make more batches in lesser time and with lesser man hours.
Hmm.
So, and also, if you are a soup brand, if you are a we've been getting propositions from skincare brands who are like using our ingredients, in their products. So
Hmm.
these are the three things that are going really well in India. Our biggest segment in India presently is young parents who are
Nice. Yeah. Healthy,
basically
conscious,
our
and yeah.
focus, is to for consumers of kids to start having a good relationship with food, because it's easier to start there rather than starting in your 30s or something like that. So if they start having a relationship with food, so basically they also involve in making a dough or stuff like that, mixing colors. It's like a bonding experience also with parents, right? So that's happening. We've also figured North America is the biggest market for this segment, superfood segment. So what's happening presently is that there are a few manufacturers in India who kind of send their products, and which are white labeled, rather
Hmm.
US brands. And then there are a few traditional brands who are predominantly using solar drying or other forms of drying, which is not, you would have seen the news, right? What is happening around food. So,
Yeah.
what typically happens is when you are dehydrating something, when you are removing the moisture, if you do it in a way which is not monitored, which is not controlled, there is scope for microbial contamination. If you remember eating those bitter groundnuts,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
you've seen like black color marks on red chilies, so these are like fungal contaminations that happen, or different kinds of microbial contamination that happens. So what we
Hmm.
have been doing is we dehydrate in a controlled environment and at controlled temperature.
Hmm.
So these are things that we have developed custom SOPs and made it in a way that the products are also safe. It's not just easy, and it's not, because the moment I say eat it for your health, it's very counterintuitive to give you a product that has
Yeah.
something that's not good for you, right? So that way, I saw a bigger opportunity globally also to for a brand like this, which is a clean, sustainable, um, something that has very that is very people centered in terms of how we operate and how we deal with our farmers, to deal with our employees, so the rural women that we employ at a factory. I
Nice.
felt there's a bigger opportunity for us to also take it globally. So
Hmm.
that's how we started, like, so our website is just going to be up in US in next week.
Yeah, I know, and which is super impressive, Kirti, because what you've done at the stage and the scale in your journey is amazing. Because I talk to so many founders, and a lot of them who start their business in India want to go to the US because the market is huge. the paying capacities are very different, etc. Right? Um, and I remember, you started your Amazon journey with US a few months back, and for you to be able to do it is phenomenal. And I look at it as a very nice case study that you come up with something very niche, really really cool. And even if you're not getting like, you know like 50,000 orders a day kind of a thing, but the scale of doing it in different, how did you go about it? Because it must have been very challenging for you to.
Always worked on fundamentals like keeping things. So being a student of marketing and all of these things that I've studied, and also coming from a place of see if there's something that I don't know, I have the ability to read and understand, the technical stuff, right? And also being able to talk to food scientists and people like that. So basically, I've myself very, very fundamental thinking. I just got good food technologists from like with good knowledge from good colleges. Say it can be NIFTEM, it can be like OU near our place, or and then collaborating with people who believed in my vision, believed in what we wanted to do, people who really liked the products. I should say there is a lot of support that I've received in my journey. It's been a quite a journey. It's not been easy because at 26 I went to a village. I relocated. I constructed. We kind of constructed a 6,000 square foot factory. So I was doing civil work. I was doing like understanding, what kind of bricks go into these, how to make sure the factory adheres to international standards, not just Indian standards, right? So all of these things have I had to like deal with a lot of stakeholders, say people, structural engineer who is a civil engineer, to somebody who is into food, who is like developing CFTRI, all these institutes. So I should say I have received phenomenal support from uh, multiple stakeholders, be it Amazon or be it different kind of people or different institutes that I've been to. I seeked information, I seeked help. So I think that's something that I would also like to put it out, ki just seek help, but put as much effort into it so that people also feel like, okay, this is something that I would want to get associated with, I would want to get involved in you know
In the process. No, that's so nice to see the kind of support that you kind of getting as well. Tell me this. There is a lot that people, especially in India, and I know, some big influencers now talk a lot about food and stuff like that. And this is a common debate I have at home with my wife as well, right? That um, buying something, cooking something, and eating something, I think, are three different hops where the quality and the nutrients can completely change for a food. Right? There is so much social media, so much awareness, etc. in the past few years. Do you think an Indian consumer in the past 5 years to now has become more aware? Do you think that maybe they'll be willing to pay 2 to 5%, higher price for the same thing that they can get in a different shape and form now?
Consumer has definitely come a long way. They're now reading the labels and now trying to understand where is it coming from. But it's also there's a lot of misinformation, and they are kind of panic driven status also, because something like, oh, don't eat processed food, don't eat this, don't eat that. So I feel and it's also I find it very amusing that we needed an influencer who's actually not from this tech background, actually debunk all of these things for us. Like, it's very amusing, right? I mean, what were people doing in the industry? What were people in the industry doing? What kind of intent do they have? Like, what were all these health brands were doing, right? So they were just masking stuff. They were like, okay, fine, you put jaggery instead of sugar, but it's still sugar, right? I mean, and also for young children, I understand you should not give a lot of sugar loaded foods or something, but you can't like not give any sugar also.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Everything has to be in balance. So the
Yes,
kind of misinformation that people have been using to just increase sales, and the kind of weight loss narrative that goes on for most of the brands is I find it a little disturbing also, but I can definitely say it's moving forward. The consumers are moving forward, and I'm confident even the regulatory authorities are putting in some energies to to put systems in place. Basically, I'll tell you what happens. Okay, food industry in India is mostly not mostly done by people. Say somebody is doing pickles at home, I know, and they sell it, or somebody is doing papads, or stuff like that, right? So this is something that has been a livelihood for many people. Like if a farmer is drying turmeric in their field, that is their livelihood. They are, but there is a lot of gap between what kind of turmeric is safe and how it should be processed for safety to what is it being done today. So but I hope, and I believe, because of the conversations that I've been having with different institutes who work in these areas also, it is improving. And I can say Asia Pacific is also fastest growing market for our segment. So I'm not giving up on India. So we are continuously scaling in India while we go global as well.
which is a very tough thing to do, but you have been able to do it, and I'm definitely hoping that you can scale in different markets as well. Um, going forward, Katie, which kind of comes to me is, uh, today there is so much work on your Shopify store. You end up spending so much money on bringing traffic, looking at conversion, looking at the conversion funnels where the problem is, etc. Right? So from a Shopify store and the growth perspective, anybody who's starting a new brand in the health sector, what would be your three pointer advice to them
On Shopify, is it?
on Shopify and the D2C space, right? How should they start their business? How should they grow? What are the important things they should do? What are the important things they should not do? Because founder is always limited with time and resource.
Right, right. So first optimize your store. So that's what I've observed. Our conversion rates going really up is when we actually put up our store. Because Abhi, there's so many e-commerce brands, and people come into your story, come into your store, they want to know like who are you? How can I trust you? How can I buy from you? And they like giving a COD option, at least in the initial stages. So basically for you to go from 0 to 1 is a very hardest journey, right? Like basically launching something, you want somebody to come and buy your product. So one thing is optimize your store for your story and what is your product ka USP, and why should somebody buy from you and not from somebody else. These are two three things that you should definitely do in, so that people, and continuously see the funnels, where are the drops and why are the drops. So we keep calling our consumers. If there's an abandoned cart, we call and we understand, why are you not buying. So people told us, okay, you're saying healthy and all, how can I be sure? So there are
Wow.
times that we send
Yeah.
them test reports on WhatsApp, you know
Such,
so
such an excellent use case of trying
mm,
to build loyalty and be, very open and transparent. Oh, amazing. Yeah.
yeah, so understand. So basically, you can't understand things from just by looking at data. Data gives you a perspective, but you have to go talk to your consumer, understand, you know, get enough information, and then implement it at scale using technology.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
can be a WhatsApp broadcast, it can be a video on Instagram, it can be different stuff, shoppable videos, or
Yeah.
testimonials, and social proof has been something that is very
Yeah.
important, like
Yeah. And
video
that,
reviews,
yeah.
picture reviews. So basically people have to know what is your product, how to use your product, and then understand what are the different thoughts that your consumer is going through
Hmm.
while in their journey, so that you can decode that and start implementing in your content, in your flows, in your marketing communications, etc. So that's something that we continuously do. Like say if there was retention ka we had a lesser number, so I was so worried. I was like, why is nobody, there are like very few people coming back and buying. But
Yeah.
when I called them, they're like, your packs is so big, it's not getting over. Like, I still have it, it's
Yeah.
not getting over.
Yeah.
Then we were like, okay, fine, we will give you new products, or we started
Mm.
like sending them communication on what all ways they can use this product. you
Oh
know
wow.
Say
Very
for
nice.
example,
Very
for
nice.
acquiring, I have to make it like really interesting, like say a rainbow plate. But a rainbow idli or rainbow dosa, you use very less quantity, right? I
Yes.
want the product to be used in a
As well.
pasta or a
Yeah.
mainstream dish, so that it's used in high quantities, so that the
True.
user is getting used to finishing the pack in a month or
Yeah.
lesser than a month.
Yeah.
So these are the things that we started doing, like smoothie. Every day I have a smoothie, so
Hmm.
that they use like 1 or 2 spoons. So these were the things that we started like understanding. And even the consumers, when you speak to them with uh, when you're a small brand, when you just started out, even they understand, right? So speak to them with as much open communication and honesty, and answer their questions very promptly, and they will become your one, advocates, and two, they'll give you as much information as you need.
Hmm.
They're willing to give you that time. So use that to your advantage, to scale.
I love it. As in, you're so nicely putting it that data is one thing, but deciphering it is something else. And trying to really understand, worrying about retention because the packages are big, but what you're trying to do is to tell them that different ways. This is so important, and they're so fundamental in every business that you have to go inside and really figure out what works, how it works, and how you can make it work for your consumer. This is fantastic. Right? Uh, with the time in constraint, Kirti, I have a couple of more questions. One is, now there is a new products that you guys are launching, new markets that you guys are launching for the next 1 year. What are your top three priorities for the brand?
So, so our vision is to become a go-to brand for ingredients that go out of India, like in India also, out of India also, to be the go-to brand in terms of quality, in terms of the flavor, and taste profiles, and uh, something that you can like close your eyes and buy and eat. I do not want you to worry, with food. So that is a bigger vision. So if you speak about uh, the targets, is one, Indian market is something that we have been scaling, and then the US market we are like launching and starting. We're trying to replicate our universal themes globally as well, and cater to the mainstream market there, because and then I think in next 6 months we are looking at launching few blends as well, like say a turmeric latte mix or stuff like that. And we've been
Nice.
in the supply side, we've been speaking to a lot of farmers across India,
Mm-hmm.
where we get access to high quality raw materials. Especially there are these GI tagged ingredients as well that we have. So basically, we're thinking of using whatever is happening in the market at this present time, right? Like there's a lot of awareness, and people are being exposed. Brands are, really finding it difficult. So I feel whatever work that we've been doing for last 2 3 years is now suddenly it's time for us to start, building upon, our products and our products line, the research that we recently launched turmeric. So
Nice.
you can make out the difference, like
Yeah.
the smell, the flavor, everything is very, very different. So there have been instances like, so when we did our first batch of turmeric, my employees, they were like, ma'am, this color is so different. I don't know if there's something wrong with our product. We're like, but that is how it's supposed to look and feel and smell.
Yeah.
If you put it
Yeah.
on your skin, it's not going. Like people who have visited, who like tried on their, hands or something, they're like, it's not going after a day.
Yeah.
So
Amazing.
we want to like build upon it and scale very rapidly. So we are hoping to be profitable in next 2 months, and then also really scale to big numbers while making sure the supply chain is intact. So there are two challenges that we're working on. One is the market side, and the second is the supply side. So it's an exciting time for us now.
Excellent. This does look exciting, and I think there is absolutely no bigger validation than trying to give the purest form of product in the hands of the consumer, and they experience and they say that, wow, I have never felt like this. And that's just mind blowing stuff. So,
Yes, yes.
and the last question, Kirti, this is a little bit funny one, but because for the people who are watching, and I'm sure they learned a lot from you today. You have to tell us something that you've never told anyone, something about yourself, a funny story, or something that happened with you, for all of us.
Okay, so as I said, I come from this community, right? So it was a little difficult for us to difficult for me. I'm the first white collar employee in my family,
Oh,
so
okay. Uh,
it was a journey in itself, right? So
I can only
for
imagine. Yeah.
me, to go back and do this super healing, like I've it was I mean it's tough journey, but doing all of this and all of that, somewhere during the way, I just healed. I think that is my biggest takeaway from this experience.
Wow.
Uh,
Yeah. No, amazing. I think your thoughts are so noble.
thank
Your the way you're thinking is just mind blowing, and your products. So glad that we get to work with you and be a
thank
part
you
of
thank you
your
so much.
growth. And thank you so much, Kirti, for joining me today. I
Thank
absolutely
you.
love the conversation. Wishing you all the best, and hoping to have you on the podcast again in the coming months.
Yes, after we scale and become super big. Yeah,
Perfect.
thank you so
All
much
right. Thank you.
to you. Yeah, bye bye.